our ride and our race on the trail, and get a few people out. This is a kind of 12 kilometers long downtown with kids and get a few people. It's beautiful scenery along that trail, so it's great to see, nice and flat and easy to ride. And that's where we never got the trail on the spot. And some of the other past events that seem to be successful, and every once in a while we'll bring them back. We have one of our famous BMX riders, Susan Hanson, sponsored by Red Bull, and got the whole bunch of events down on the state. He's the one that flipped up down. We just have he's entertaining the group during Bike Week a couple times. We had a local artist one year that did some cycling pictures at a rodeo and one other event. We had a couple of movies at Favorable, presentation of Favorable Cultural Center in East Line, as well as in the past we've had some safety courses quite successful. And this is just a list of some of our sponsors, the county, the Dr. Hill, Town Council, and cycle have been great supporters of our events, and we plan to continue. So, thank you.
Write down those questions you might have. And next, we are going to HRM. And Anita, I've got to find you on the list, and I'll give you the control of it. Anita Koblenz. Oh, I'm muting you. Okay, Anita, I'm trying to unmute you there, but I'm not unmuting. Can you unmute yourself? Okay, seem to be having some technical problems. Why don't we actually go, how about we go, Ray, if we can get you to start the Pictou County one. I'm going to see, oh, wait a minute. Anita, are you there? Not hearing Anita. Okay. All right, we will go to Pictou County, and I will try to fix some of the issues we have. Okay. Ray, you are on.
Can everybody hear you? Perfect. Okay. So, my name is Ray, and I'm the Municipal Physical Activity Leader for Pictou County, and through my role, I work with our members of our Active Transportation Committee to coordinate Bike Week events each year. Through the coming slides, I want to provide you the nuts and bolts of organizing Bike Week activities so that you who are participating on this event can leave with some practical information for use in your own communities. As Caroline said, it's always important to remember why we're doing something. And as years go by, sometimes we forget the original purpose of the event. For us, hosting an annual event that would promote cycling as a fun, recreational activity, but also as a healthy transportation choice, came from the creation of the Pictou County Bikeways Plan. It's a document that is the result of an enormous effort from numerous people who are passionate about making our county more bike-friendly in infrastructure, resources, public awareness, education, and signage. Members of the working group that moved the Bikeways project forward felt the completion of the report was the beginning rather than the ending. They decided to continue their work and broaden their focus to include more than cycling. Hence, the Pictou County Active Transportation Committee was formed. The committee meets monthly and focuses on increasing awareness, education, and advocacy around active transportation. The committee takes on the challenge of developing and implementing Bike Week activities each year, and it's a great opportunity to introduce, or in some cases remind, residents about the benefits of cycling. So getting to the specifics, so the dates for our Bike Week. Our committee plans activities around the first week of June. The weather is getting better, there's enough daylight for our evening rides, and the craziness of summer vacation has yet to start. Personally, I would support a standardizing of the event provincially. June is already Recreation Month, and at one time Active Transportation Month, I believe, so the timing makes sense. We offer at least one ride per day of the week, mainly due to the work schedules of the organizers, and to provide consistency in start times, our evening rides start at 6 each night. We try to keep things simple. So the route selection. Routes that are used are also connected with the original BikeWays plan. Many are recreational road rides that were identified through the process and are scenic, low traffic areas with limited elevation. We updated our cycling brochure this past year and added a few more routes and places to ride that provide more choice to the wide range of cyclists that are out there, from families to the expert long-distance rider. So it's nice to be able to introduce residents to a new route that they can go back and enjoy later. So whenever you're planning these events, you have to think of the risk. And it might be an area where we need to focus a bit more. We haven't had any incidents over the years, but as numbers grow and the years go on, so does the chance of something happening. So the committee takes a lot of time in selecting the route, considering all the potential hazards, and organizers are prepared with waivers, safety gear, cell phones, etc. When planning the events on busier streets, where we usually do our family rides and kind of our mass rides, the local police service is contacted and they provide an escort and/or block streets. They're really easy to work with and they provide a great amount of support. The most common complaint in my job that I hear is, I didn't know that was going on. And as much as we do, it seems that we could always stand to do more. As we've done this annually, there are folks who know that it's coming and keep an eye out for Bike Week details. But sometimes the general population is harder to engage. Information is sent out to local media, we use social media, and email lists, community groups, etc. This is where I think having some prevention support for Bike Week in Nova Scotia could help in reaching the broader market via provincial newspapers, radio, and TV. It would help reinforce the message being shared at the grassroots community. So I'm really eager to hear some of the ideas from the group today about what they do for promotions. This year we attempted to do some education prior to Bike Week and hosted a safe cycling information session. There was a small group present, but it did reveal that there was an interest, especially for women, to learn or revisit how to ride a bike and increase their comfort level with traffic and the rules of the road. The dilemma is that folks want to have targeted workshops, so children, certain ages want to be together, women want to do courses together, and young adults, people that want to learn about riding in traffic, people want to learn about riding in rural areas, and some people wanted to know more about group riding. But to meet the needs of all these different groups, we don't have enough currently trainers, but it is something we're looking into. Because Bike Week is celebrated all over the world, there are lots of ideas floating around, and I've looked at several to borrow ideas for promotion, design, posters, messaging, etc. Selecting a few to have a working group look at would be a great way to get the ball rolling in your own community. So getting into partnerships and working in small communities, partnerships are key. In theory, it's because you want to maximize resources, limit duplication, reach shared goals, and so on, but they really happen because everybody around the planning table at the event usually wears several different hats, and they naturally relationships actually build. So if you don't already have these connections, you may want to connect in your community with some of the following groups. The first one in ours, and as Craig mentioned, is the local bike shop. They do a huge amount of work during our Bike Week, and it's great for their business, and so they recognize the importance of helping out. Again, like Craig mentioned, we partner with the United Way a bit in promoting their Bikes for Kids program. It's pretty much a basic cross-promotion as we attempt to reach each other's audiences. because we do have the same goal of both projects, is to get more people riding bikes. The Heartland Tour, for those who aren't familiar, is a public awareness campaign led by provincial physicians about the importance of a healthy, active lifestyle in preventing cardiac disease. They host a cross Nova Scotia tour and spend a day in several communities. Our local members of that group host one of the Bike Week rides and promote the Heartland event that happens in early July. They do a quick blurb to the group that's riding that night and give out a jersey from the year before. And as I said, the local police and RCMP provide a lot of help and make themselves available during the week to assist with traffic control and escort. They are also great to offer bike safety clinics, helmet safety checks, and they also register bikes in our area. So in case if your bike gets lost or stolen throughout the summer, they can do a check on it if it comes up again. And then so they should be one of the first groups you approach to invite to the table if you're creating a committee. Sharing the workload. Ask other groups who are offering programs already to join in. We connected with a local Fish Fest Bus Club who already had a weekly ride planned and asked if they would open up the ride that coincided with Bike Week to be public. They happily agreed and appreciated the extra media attention and public awareness. And as a result, some of their members were enthusiastic to participate in the other rides we had planned throughout the week. So this is really the nuts and bolts. Having a bit of a budget to work with goes a long way, but you really don't need much. The bike shop in our area matches the amount we spend on gift certificates that we use as prizes throughout the week. The money goes towards help paying for reprinting maps, purchasing snacks at rides, and this year we added a bike theme movie to the mix and purchased You Never Bike Alone, the rights, and did a screening on the Friday night after a ride. When planning for Bike Week, there will be things you can plan for in advance and be prepared for. Unfortunately, the weather plays a large role in whether or not you get big turnouts for some events. If it's cold and rainy, there's not much you can do, as we are well aware. Rescheduling can sometimes be a bother, so we try to go forward if it's a bit drizzly, but we cancel for full-fledged washouts. The other areas that we have faced challenges can be overcome by dedicating more time, as we already mentioned in the interest in doing some of the bike courses. We also reach more by partnering. We could also reach more by partnering with workplaces, considering wellness committees, occupational health and safety, and the schools to get more groups participating. So the new faces around the table also helps in stimulating new ideas and opportunities. I did want to touch on another challenge that we face, and it's probably the biggest, and it's the misconception that residents have about biking in general. We try to make the events welcoming to all abilities, and sometimes it's through simple ways, such as having committee members that wear their regular clothes and sneakers, not stand-up, and use simple bikes, etc. I really like this slide as it's a fun kind of myth debunker, and I'd like to work some of those messages into our next event. I felt it's important to finish on some positive side of things and celebrate the good things I see happen because of Bike Week. First, the organizing committee is extremely passionate and fun. They give a lot of their time for this cause because they're passionate about it. And they want to make sure it's a positive experience for those that attend. The group makes an effort to provide something throughout the week for all ages, abilities, and different communities across the county, so the residents can find something that they can participate in through the week schedule. It's heartwarming to see young cyclists pedaling alongside their parents, being introduced to active living in a fun atmosphere, or watching older adults returning to an activity they haven't done in years, and enjoying it and feeling it, and being able to be physically able to bike through the beautiful towns and counties. So each year is a success. Having a committed group of volunteers to make this a priority each year is important. And if the weather cooperates, our numbers are consistent and growing. So best of luck with planning your own Bike Week.
Thanks, Ray. It was great. And we will now try, Nita, I'm going to switch it over. And stand by 1 second.
Hello.
There you go.
That's great.
I'll be advancing my own slides, that's correct?
Yeah.
Arrow at the top? That's great. Okay. I'm Anita Koblenz. I'm the Active Transportation Coordinator for HRM. And here are my thoughts on Bike Week. We live in a car culture, but HRM aims to double active transportation mode share by 2026. So we build bike lanes. But infrastructure is not enough. Bike Week is not just a party. It's a cultural event helping to shape and shift how people see the bicycle, from a toy to a healthy, sustainable, and efficient way to get around. To change culture, you have to touch as many people as possible with your event. We start with a broad steering committee made up of more than just city staff. Through sponsorship, we leverage $5,000 in city funding to a budget of over $10,000. And last year, we turned that into 60 events with over 6,000 participants. To get participation, people need to know it's Bike Week. We buy 3 newspaper ads, print 200 posters, and 4,000 brochures. We use community listings, Facebook, and Twitter. Press releases help us make news as an alternative to buying ads. The British Commission has lent us their sign before. All our advertising drives people to our website. We have a simple, intuitive website address that hasn't changed in a decade, halifax.ca/bikeweek. We maintain this with all the most up-to-date information about our events, and Facebook lets us notify our followers if there are any last-minute changes, additions, or deletions to the schedule. We could take our $5,000 in city funding and hold 1 or 2 events, but we don't do that for a number of reasons. 1, the few times we did, we found that very few people came. 2, if you put all your energy into one event, bad weather can kill it. 3, HRM is a big place, and where to hold it becomes political if there's just one event. So what we do is offer $250 grants, T-shirts, and prizes to anyone interested in hosting an event. The grants can be used for food, equipment, posters, more prizes, honoraria for bike instructors, bike mechanics, and more. We then basically become the promotional engine that helps get people to other people's events. HRM assumes the risk when we promote other people's events. To cover that, we make sure the event holder either has their own insurance or we do a detailed safety review before assuming the risk. Recreation Nova Scotia seems to have the best insurance for events that are attended by the general public, while Bicycle Nova Scotia insurance policy only seems to cover their own members. Now for the fun part, the events. A well-rounded bike week should have at least one big signature event, lots of small local events, as many cycling promotions as possible, a few indoor events in case it rains for a week, and many group rides for different skill levels. Bike Week is also a good time for safety and education campaigns. We try to get events that are happening anyway to be held during Bike Week with the lure of co-promotion. HRM police auction off unclaimed stolen bikes every year. After they joined Bike Week, attendance for their auction went up. The Bicycle Plus criterion is now held during Bike Week because we cost share certain elements and help them attract spectators. Excuse me. Simple events are the bread and butter of Bike Week. You want every neighborhood to form a kids' cycling club called the Flaming Dinos and ride around the local pond and then eat ice cream. That's an event. Last year, the Flaming Dinos got older. They rode 6 clicks to Shuby Park and back before having their sweet reward. The events don't have to be rides. A cycle group's birthday party, an outdoor screening of short bicycle films, an indoor screening of a cycling classic, because breaking away never gets old, you know. A bicycle art show, a slideshow of a bike tour to someplace exotic. Want more ideas? Call me. I absolutely love dreaming up Bike Week ideas. Promotions are great because they reward people who are already cycling and they incentivize cycling for others. Pancake breakfasts, free ferry rides, and kayak rentals for cyclists, checkpoints with coffee and free tune-ups, make the benefits visible to the people who are not bicycling and make them wish they were for a change. Last year, we did this promotion with 2 business districts and dozens of local shops. We made this window sign for them, promoted the districts on our posters, and included offer details on our website. Advertising is expensive, and this costs shops nothing. They also know that cyclists are great targets for the buy local movement. More about rides. People love to dress up in period costumes and ride around. Sleeve rides are a huge hit all over the world. Tie roping and a historical society would be a tour guide and get some heritage spots out on a bike while you're at it. There are so many angles from which you can get people on a bike. Be creative. Cycling clubs do rides all season. Encourage them to host a beginner ride during Bike Week and list it as an event. It's a great way for them to attract new members. And growing local bicycling clubs is a key way to grow your bicycle culture, because they keep going long after Bike Week is over. Bike to School Day is my favorite Bike Week event. It is such a simple concept. Kids are encouraged to ride a bike to school, and every kid who does is entered into a draw. The school with the highest proportion of students bicycling wins a prize for the school, such as a new bike rack or a GoPro camera. Call it School Bike Day in areas where busing is king, and encourage the school to host a bike-themed activity and offer the same deal with the prizes. We offer $100 grants to encourage schools to host some kind of event on Bike to School Day, a police rodeo, a flat tire workshop, or better yet, get them to launch their Making Tracks program that week. Think of other ways to involve young people too. If the goal is to grow cycling culture and the number of cyclists, your Bike Week needs to attract youth and beginners. Milk celebrity to do this if you must. There is a BMX star from Truro in the middle of this crowd, and look at all the kids who came out to see him. Include politicians, because we really need better infrastructure before more people will ride. They control the dollars needed to build it. We did a 1K, all-downhill ride with our new mayor last year that attracted more good press, tweets, and likes than ever before. Our mayor is now interested in active transportation as part of his Healthy Communities initiative. Keep track of attendance. Politicians, potential sponsors, and of course you will want to know how many people came. You can do mini surveys on prize ballots as well to learn more information about those attending. You want feedback, so you can make it bigger and better next year. I hope everyone feels ready now to shift some culture in 2014. Thank you.
Thank you, Anita. Very well done. And that's over to Claire with Heart and Stroke, and she'll talk about CBRM. After I unmute you.
Okay, I was just about to ask you, could you do that? So, it's Claire McLean from Cape Breton here, and I'm not exactly an imposter, although I'm usually the walking queen. I actually sit on the former Active Transportation Staff Committee, Community Committee, and ACTRAC. And so when Andre wasn't able to present today, they asked me to step in, so I'll do my best. Basically, in Bike Week and biking is supported both an active transportation plan through supporting cycling and cycle tourism initiatives, and in the physical activity strategy through building capacity within the community to deliver and create affordable, accessible programs and events. So, it started a number of years ago with Bike Week, starting with Bill Cape Breton, and I participated in their first Open Streets Festival, where they actually did a May Day ride through downtown Sydney. But it grew then to be a much bigger partnership with CBRM and part of the creation of the physical activity strategy. And other partners now include Frameworks Racing Team, the Active Cape Breton ACAP Environmental Organization, the Regional Police participate, ACTRAC, which is our group of not-for-profit and interested community citizens, and the Canadian Diabetes Association, the CBC, and the YMCA. And generally, the municipality provides funding, advertising, coordination, and the partners actually plan the events themselves. So CBRM gives them grants to do that. And a mainstay of the week are the commuter breakfasts that are held on the Monday, the kickoff, and the Friday. And they're free, healthy breakfasts among friends with lots of entertainment for anyone on a bicycle. Last year, we had people from 11 years old to 80 years old, and they're often used as a platform to give awards to begin a media event or a training session. And we had one person bike in from Rear Albert Bridge, which is quite a feat. The CBRM Bike Week Awards are given out to businesses, organizations, and individuals who deserve recognition for doing something special for the cycling community, such as advocating for and promoting cycling, implementing new cycling projects, and adding or supporting the cycling infrastructure. And generally our mayor, this is our former mayor, John Morgan, but our mayor participates in that by giving out the awards. And the municipality also offers free bike racks to not-for-profit and community organizations. And during Bike Week, the unveiling of these racks makes for good media coverage. And this particular one is the former mayor, John Morgan, unveiling the new racks at the Loaves and Fishes Community Kitchen in the downtown Sydney area. And our partners also participate by offering free classes to encourage people to cycle. So a couple of the things that happened last year was the spin class of free yoga for cyclists at the local YMCA, some introduction to cycling sessions by Velo Cape Breton, and some bike safety sessions with the regional police department. And to help grow the community involvement, the CBRM offers community grants of up to $100 to groups wanting to host an event, realizing that we need to spread it across the community. So in the first year, 8 grants were awarded. 4 of them actually went to schools, 2 to differing sports organizations, and 2 to community cycling groups. And we called this our virtual marketing because they advertised it so well. We also are very proud to say that every bus in the Cape Breton Region municipality has a bike rack, and during Bike Week, people with cycles can ride the bus for free. And the police use Bike Week to educate cyclists and drivers. For the 1 meter rule campaign, members of the regional police force set up checkpoints for motorists and cyclists to distribute information about the 1 meter rule. And we have police on bikes, and they're really busy during the week, especially with the family and children's events. They usually ride with us. And nothing beats getting a safety message or a free, nothing beats getting a safety message or a free helmet from the policeman or woman on a really cool bike, especially if they demonstrate the lights and the sirens that are on the bikes. So we have a very active sports cycling scene here in Cape Breton, and Framework Fitness and Cycling Racing has a team, and they participate by inviting people to join their Wednesday night evening ride, and they also provide some training opportunities, etc. And they usually end up gathering a few people to their group. And Framework started the BMX Challenge last year as a freestyle competition open both to male and female competitors, and judges award points for technical merit, degree of difficulty, and overall BMX freewheel and style. And they really hope to grow this event this year. Mountain biking, again, is really quite popular here since we have so many hills. And mountain bikers of all ages follow our marked trails through the woodlands. And we have some wonderful trails in Sydney River and Highway Centre particularly that they use. And they get prizes for various feats that they do. Velo Cape Breton, who we all know and love, offer a number of destination rides where cyclists meet to enjoy lunch, coffee, a tour, and they vary the routes of the length. They're advertised, so when people arrive as they wish, they can take up either a 40-kilometer, a 20-kilometer, or a 10K distance. And they also offer a group ride for a relaxed nature of beginners so that people aren't really intimidated by the long distances. We've always tried to have a media event during our event, and this picture shows the George Street bike lanes, which were completed last year. Unfortunately, they were just completed after Bike Week. However, this year, the picture on the right is the picture of our Spar bike lanes that have just been finished, and the opening will be perfect for the 2014 kickoff, and for some education. I just want to comment that the reason we need the bike lane spur is because we have to cross over a very difficult railway track. And the cycling ambassadors. The Velo Cape Breton cycling ambassadors are recognizable in their distinctive cycling kits. You can't miss them on the road in that bright yellow. They hit the roads across Cape Breton to educate cyclists and potential cyclists in the best practices of cycling. They encourage cycling for transportation, and they support recreational cycling. And this group enables fellows to hold multiple events during the week in multiple areas of the island. In 2013, the municipality contracted BELO to provide the CAN bike training, and a class for casual recreational cyclists wanting to improve safety and enjoyment while riding on the trails and back road was implemented. The content includes helmet and bike fit, cycling at traffic and on trails, gearing, nutrition, and more. A classroom session is followed by parking lot skills drill to get started. And the skills involve straight line cycling, signaling, balance, braking, turns, rock dodge, and collision avoidance. And bike week sessions attract a lot of participation. Our commuter challenge is a friendly competition between Canadian cities and workplaces. Walk, cycle, carpool, take transit, or telecommute, or do all three during the event, and in CBRM is organized by the municipality. Another way to grow the week is to start looking at other organizations holding events during the same week and adding a cycling component. So in the past, the Going for Distance for Diabetes, which is a Diabetes Association fundraiser, was moved into Bike Week to attract some participation for both groups and to use that large network of people they have to advertise it. And so our future projects, we've just witnessed a completion of a beautiful project during the cleanup of the tar ponds. We have a huge recreational park called the Open House Park, and it involves the cycling safety park known as the Ramadan Balowski Park. And the park was actually proposed and designed by the local Breton, and they worked very hard to make sure it stayed part of the original design. What they hope to do is do some programs in cycle safety sessions, classroom work for children and schools. And the facility is also open to the public. And this slide actually shows our Transportation Infrastructure Renewal Minister, Jeff McClellan, and MP Mark Eiking testing out the new pavement when it opened 2 weeks ago. So in closing, when you get two guys in suits on bikes for a media event, you know things are going to change for the better. And I have to say, I was really excited about seeing guys in suits along with the Bellows Red and Green, because that tells us that it's accessible for everybody. So thank you.
Thank you, Claire. Great. Of neat ideas from 4 different communities, and there's some unique events, but then there's some really common elements too. So now what I think we'll do is we'll open it up to questions and discussion. Now, if you look down at the bottom of the list of names for participants, and just above the chat box, there should be a raise hand button. And so you can raise your hand or you can take down your hand. So if you have a question, how about you raise a hand, and then I'll try to unmute the folks who would most likely be able to answer those questions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unmute all of our presenters, so Caroline and Claire, and Anita, and Craig, where's Craig, and Ray. So, any questions coming from the audience? Think it over. And, well, actually, what we could do while we wait for people to formulate their questions, Caroline had mentioned this before, that the Bike Week for 2014 is proposed for June 6th to Sunday, June 15th. And a bunch of us in planning this webinar decided that it might be nice to, I'm just going to mute people again if there's some background noise. Sorry. We kind of figured it might make sense if there was one Bike Week in Nova Scotia. And I think there were 4 or 5 communities involved in the discussion, and we thought, well, what if we tried for the first Friday in June and go for 10 days? And so in 2014, it would be June 6th to the 15th, and of course it would change every year. But that was the proposal, and the idea was if we have many different people or many different communities using the same dates, then it'll benefit all the communities in terms of promotion and going in on ads together, going in on different kinds of promotion. So I see Anita has her hand up, so I will scan. There we go. Okay, go ahead, Anita.
Good question, I think, for Colchester.
and anyone else out there, because just on the subject of having one bike week in all of Nova Scotia, which I'm in support of for co-promotion, by the way, but I'm just thinking about Bicycle Nova Scotia and their races. Like, we have the Criterium as one event, one key event, one of our signature events during Bike Week, and I noticed Truro had a BNS race as well. I'm just wondering if there's any other groups out there that have a BNS event, and if this might mess things up if we all, if there's only 2 events and there's 2 weekends in Bike Week, that's probably fine, but I know BNS usually does not have more than 1 race a day in a weekend or on any given day in Nova Scotia. Anyone else out there with BNS events?
Okay. Maybe you could raise your hand if you can speak to that or have a comment. And Craig, did you have?
I'll have to check. I know Hubcycle put on a bunch of different things, like certainly with the Victoria Super Ride. And isn't there a ride or a race in Gold? Oh, they had it last year.
Sorry, Craig. Craig, it's a bit difficult to hear you. I don't know if you can maybe get a bit closer to the microphone.
Okay. I know Victoria's Secret Ride that Hubcycle put on, but I thought there might be there was a race last year in Gore that a lot of our volunteers around. And those are their bike rodeo. So I'm not sure if Gore is still planning to have a race that weekend or sometime in June, I think.
Okay. All right. Looks like Caroline or someone who's on the phone with Caroline has a comment. And Anita, maybe you could lower your hand. Just after you ask your question, if you could lower your hand, that would be great. And so, Caroline.
Okay. Hello. This is actually not Caroline. My name is Ben Buckle, and I just took a position with Bicycle Nova Scotia.
Yay! Welcome.
Great. Thanks. I'm glad to be here, and looking forward to working with everybody that's sitting in on this call sometime in the future. But I just wanted to say I don't really know personally, just starting out new with Bicycle Nova Scotia, what they have going on during Bike Week, but I would definitely be able to inquire and provide that information to all the people that are interested, just to sort of double check. So I just thought I would put that out there as an offer. Unfortunately, I can't figure out the question now. That's basically all I wanted to put in there.
Okay, great. Thanks. All right. Anybody else? Any questions, either on that topic or on any of the ideas that were brought up during the presentation? Or even a comment on when Bike Week should be held, if we should try to get all the communities doing the event at the same time. Oh, we have Mary McDonald has a comment or a question. Mary, go ahead.
Hi. We did some rides on Eastern Shore last year, part of HRM Bike Week. My question is regarding risk. Our community group doesn't have liability insurance, and someone mentioned that there was good coverage through Recreation Nova Scotia. Wondering if you can get coverage for just one event or for Bike Week for that, or if anyone has any more information on that insurance.
Okay, great. Thanks. And it looks like Anita might have an answer there. Anita, go ahead.
I may not have the answer, but what I know about Recreation Nova Scotia is that if your organization becomes a member of Recreation Nova Scotia, your organization is then covered for any events you hold throughout the year. So that membership is, once again, I'm not definitive, and maybe someone else knows, but I think it's in the $600 a year ballpark. So it may not be appropriate, maybe too much for a small group like yours, and a Bike Week grant couldn't totally cover that. But it could contribute to it, I think.
Okay.
Anyone else have thoughts on that?
Okay, I am reading, just one sec, I do have I have a question here from, let's see, Ray wants to know, Nita and Claire, where your other funding comes from for community events in terms of grants. Maybe if either of you could answer that. I'll unmute Claire and I'll unmute Anita. Maybe you can.
I think it's Claire here. I'm not exactly sure where all the funding comes from. I know Framework Cycle gives CDRN some money that they use. ACAF as a partner does some funding as well. But I'll have to get Colleen Carey to answer that question for you because I've been very lazy and let them handle the financial side of it.
So we get, we have a sponsorship offer that, is related to the degree of sponsorship, and it's sort of evolved over the years. Like we have a $1,500 platinum sponsorship and, $1,000 gold and whatever, $750 or $500 bronze, and we send a letter out to various groups. Usually we milk the connections that are on the Bike Week committee, so the chair of the Bike Week committee was a former VP at KPMG, so they have, he's since moved on years ago, but KPMG continues to be $1,000 sponsor. Nova Scotia Power, we also started off with a connection there, and we just asked for the funding, but now they actually have a program you can apply online for funding, so they're traditionally, we got them. Other major sponsors of ours include some local developers. Crombie Properties has really boosted their bike portfolio. Like they recently developed a huge, very top-notch, I would say world-class bicycle room in Scotia Square because they have hundreds of bicycle commuters downtown. So they're realizing this is part of, and they're going for LEED and Belmont Best certification in various buildings. So it's part of their green image. So they actually came to us, I think, and once because we've been doing Bike Week long enough now, people actually recognize us. So they came to us. Moksha Yoga came to us, just to give you an example of the kinds of businesses that might be interested in getting their name. And they basically get their logo on our poster and our website, and we mention them whenever we can. If we're speaking about Bike Week. And Mountain Equipment Co-op has also been a sponsor, and they've been increasing their sponsorship. And one of the ways we lured them in was we started buying gift certificates from them, and then we offered to name Bike to School Day after them. We said, we'll call it next Bike to School Day if you match all our gift certificates. So they started, we buy $500 worth of certificates for prizes, and then they contribute another $500, and then corporately across the country, they started selling bicycles a few years ago and started offering bike fests in communities where they had shops and then so they started organizing a major event and contributing $1,500 a year. So I don't know if that relationship will continue, but that's an example of the other sponsorships that we've had.
Okay, great. Thanks. And I missed a few comments in the chat box before. I just want to go over really quickly before we end. There's a question in there too. So Vince Forrestal had mentioned that it's too bad that weather continues to be a barrier to participating in physical activity, and he went to a few concert events the last 2 Sundays where, of course, snow is an issue, and both were full to watch a Christmas concert. But if it was an activity event, we probably wouldn't have had as many people attend that. So interesting comment about the weather. Corrine mentions that anyone interested in the event in Gore, you can check out the website. That's in the chat box there. It's www.ridegore.ca. And let's see. Further, Natasha mentions it's worth mentioning that the event week we're suggesting for Bike Week, so in 2014, June 6th to the 15th, also aligns with the National Commuter Challenge event. Let's see, we already went through the question, another question there. Oh, and Mike Arthur, hi Mike, wonders, has anyone attempted to involve people with disabilities? So that's a good question. I'm wondering if anyone can answer that. Looks like Anita can. All right, Anita.
not in a big way, but in HRM we have the IWSA, and they have some adaptive bikes for kids with disabilities, and they have been invited to come participate in any of our open street events because it's a great opportunity for them to actually bike on the roads when the streets are close to traffic. And we have also, I forgot where, but we occasionally can secure some adult tricycles and get them transported to the Emerald Oval, and we've held like seniors try a bike workshops on those. So not people with disabilities, but older folks.
Great. Okay, great. Thanks. And then further in the chat box there, Craig Burgess says, we have a leader that has a carriage that he allows some people to use during sunrise who has a child with a disability. And let's see. Kim Mundell says, I think the IEWK promotes Bike Week to families during the week and highlights the different types of bikes used by children with disabilities. And I do know that, I believe it's the District of Chester has, oh gosh, what is it? Hippo Camp, is that what it's called? It's an adaptive kind of stroller. It's like a stroller, but it can be for children or adults who have mobility issues. Any other ideas around involving persons with disabilities? No? Any other questions? And maybe some of the other communities, maybe not to put you on the spot, but I think Brian Ord is on the webinar today. What might you think about having Bike Week a set week that all communities across the province participate in during the same week? Brian, in Annapolis, I think the event is on some different dates, I think. Okay. Brian? I just unmuted you. Am I putting you on the spot? Are you there? No, you may not be connected with your audio. Maybe you can type something in the chat box for Brian. Meanwhile, we have Hanita again. There you go. Hanita, go ahead.
Just on persons with attracting people with disabilities, remember I love dreaming up Bike Week ideas, so I just have one. You could work with your local cycling clubs and get leaders who have tandems and are willing to ride in the front of the tandem, and then have them partner with your local, if you have a visually impaired association or CNIB, or to encourage visually impaired people to try biking because with a seeing partner on the tandem. That'd be kind of cool event.
Yeah, great idea. Thanks. And we have in the chat box, we have Tracy Vandermolen says that more information on the South Shore's Adaptive Equipment Loan program for those with disabilities is here, and she gives the website there. So just look in the chat box. I won't read out the website. That's kind of long, but thank you for that. That's great. All right. Anyone else? I know that when we were planning the webinar, we did anticipate, well, maybe people want to know more about, prize ideas, prizes to give away, and how you can involve different businesses or organizations and prizes. Anyone have any ideas around prizes or incentives for Bike Week? Anyone at all? Oh, we do have something. We do have something from Brian. Okay. Oh, actually, Ray. Okay, go ahead, Ray.
Oh, yeah, just about the prizes and incentives. We do draws at every event. So rather than trying to maybe collect things and do things at the end of the week, it's an immediate kind of reward. So we purchase quite a few, say $25 amount gift certificates for our local bike shop, and do collect these at the beginning of the ride, and then at the end of the ride do a draw, and so people walk away that night with an incentive for participating. And those are promoted on the poster that there will be draws at every event.
Great, thanks. And we have a comment from Brian in the chat box. Hey everyone, I think it's great to try to be united across the province for Bike Week. We are willing to change our dates and go longer this year. Okay, nice. Great. And let's see. Also, he says we also do a bike hour, similar to Earth Hour. We start Bike Week off each year with it from 6 to 7. Further from Brian, the numbers have been increasing for this each year. And we don't necessarily target a large group ride for it, but for individuals, so families get a e-bike. Great, thanks, Brian. And Hanita has a comment. Go ahead, Hanita.
Just with regard to prizes and incentives, one thing that we've been trying to expand is it originated with the Bike and Boat, like our local St. Mary's Boat Club, which has kayak and swing rentals. Said, well, if you bike to the boat club that, Tuesday evening, you get a 1 hour free kayak rental. So I think we've expanded that a little bit, and we're going to keep trying to expand it more to all of our rec centers. And it's something that, every municipality probably offers some kind of program, whether it's a yoga class or some kind of, something that you can give away for free just if someone's biked there, and you sort of, and then we expanded that to businesses. Like offer some kind of discount, just present your helmet to qualify. Your helmet becomes a traveling sort of coupon that you can use through the week to give you some benefits for cycling and that whole incentivizing cycling and maybe turning a bit of a negative like the helmet law into a positive. The helmet becomes your traveling coupon. But so you make the event itself kind of a prize. Another thing we do, what we found for attracting participation that works really well is just getting into other groups. Like last year, this group, there's like an online community called Meetup. Someone who's a Meetup organizer started hosting some Bike Week events, and it's through them using their own networks to get their members to participate. For example, they held can bike workshops, which we've held every single year that have been relatively poorly attended. When another group hosted it for their members, they were full. There were like 20, 25 people attending, and they had a great time and they want to do it again. So really tapping into other organizations like the United Way or the Boys and Girls Clubs and anything that's out there to get them to offer something for their members, we find a really good way to get participation in the events rather than city staff hosting them or just hosting them for the general public. People are busy. It's hard to get them out to events.
Thanks. Okay. And so in the chat box, we had a little bit more from Brian, and this is with regard to the get out and ride idea. And he says that they do get people to call in, and they have draw prizes for those who report in. And then Craig Burgess says, we have gift certificates, helmets, locks, bells, reflectors, lights, repair kits, water bottles. We get a lot from our local bike shop. Prizes during each ride and event. Great, thanks. Okay. Oh, Anita? Yeah. There you go. Go ahead, Anita.
I mean to keep hogging the mic.
Yeah, hey, if no one else is asking questions, then there you go.
So the thing, the draws, I touched on this in my presentation that if you are having a draw and you're handing out some kind of draw tickets, like we've printed off some custom draw tickets that have little mini surveys on the back that we found really useful in the past. And some of the I'm coaching someone to ask, what did you ask on your mini survey? So no one did. But still answered. But like we learned, for example, one year, because we had this $5,000 budget, and early on, we were a pretty small committee and we had very little extra sponsorship. We thought, how are we going to get people to our events? And C100 called us and offered to be a media sponsor and give us $6,000 worth of airtime for $3,000. And we thought, okay, well, let's put all our resources into promotion. And then we did these mini surveys that said, how did you hear about our event? So they were like one-tip mini surveys, basically. And we found that, like, 90% of people heard about it through the Coast or something, or online or for friends, and 5% heard about it through our radio advertising, which was about 60% of our budget. So we were like, okay, we're going to move on from radio advertising. It didn't affect our audience. And another thing that we wanted to know is what type of person are we attracting to Bike Week events? Because our goal really is to grow bike culture. So we want to get people who haven't biked in a while or are new to cycling. So we ask people to sort of self-identify like what type of cyclists they are. And for the most part, we are finding that we are attracting people who are already cycling. So we're not hitting our mark, which makes us, every year we kind of go back to the drawing board and think, how's going to attract more people who aren't cycling? And maybe that's a question to ask everyone. Like, does anyone have any ideas out there? Because to me, this is really about growing the culture. And growing the culture is getting people who aren't already doing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good question. Do we truly know our audience and how to reach them? Anybody else? Does anyone have an answer to that question? Maybe we wouldn't be here if we did. Okay, while we wait, I'm just going to read some ideas in the chat box again. So let's see. So Mike Arthur says, when police or RCMP involved in Bike Week, do they charge fees? That is a good question. Does anyone have an answer for that? I know, Hanita, you've been involved in that. Oh, Claire. Okay, here's Claire, go ahead. Oh, sorry, you're unmuted there. Go ahead, Claire.
I'll just comment. The CDRN regional police don't charge us when they participate, but they also warn us that if an emergency comes up, they might not be there. But there is no fee involved.
Okay, good, great. And Hanita, go ahead.
For our event that involved the mayor, we didn't get charged, but for every other event that we have, we get treated like any other group in HRM who's holding an event, and we get charged time and a half for police time, for traffic control, for any barriers that we need erected. We pay a lot. That's a large portion of our budget. For the signature events where we feel that's important, that's our budget basically goes back to paying HRM for overtime.
Right. Interesting. So what about other communities? Any other communities have fees you have to pay, or is it free? Anyone else? Oh, Claire, did you have another? Claire, you had a comment?
No, I'm just saying into the notes.
Okay. Oops. Okay, so I'm going to move down here. So Craig Burgess says our radio summer events crews are going around town, and they have prizes to give out to people that are safe riding and are cycling. That's great. And Vince Forstall let me know that in his area in Victoria County, there are no fees charged for the RCMP. And Craig says fees are not being charged for us in Colchester with RCMP or Township. And in Pictou County from Mary Dunn, there's no charge there for their police or RCMP. And again, Vince goes on to say, South Springs, Victoria County is naturally active. Zero to Breton and RCMP offer free initiatives. Let's see. So Brian down in Annapolis, police RCMP have never had them charge us. Local RCMP has a community programs officer who helps us out with bike rodeos. Also, they are all for promoting cycling and more important, safe cycling. Great. Thanks for that. And Claire, your hand is still up there. Did you still need to do you have a comment?
No, I think that something going on with my computer.
Okay.
Being possessed by the devil.
Okay, no problem. Let's see. Hanita says our police host rodeos at no charge too, but I guess what Hanita was saying before was more for the big events where it's more crowd control. Would that be correct, Hanita?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, they have to provide services to do traffic control. They'll charge, but the police rodeos, the kids stuff, that's part of their own community programming as well.
Right.
So,
okay.
lucky you to all of you other communities who police don't charge you for it.
Okay. All right. Any other burning questions or ideas? It's your last chance because we're going to wrap up soon. Anything? All right. Well, just in wrapping up, the idea was put out that maybe if there are communities that are going to all go in together on the same date for Bike Week, that maybe we could get a small group together, just a working group, not a committee, to sort of talk about provincial level Bike Week promotion. And so this is just putting that out there. If there's anyone interested in doing that, I'll email everyone after the webinar, and I'll provide you with an evaluation feedback link, so you can let us know what you thought of the webinar, but also to let us know if you are interested in being part of this working group, and then maybe early in the new year we can all get together, those who are interested, to maybe start planning out how we can better promote Bike Week clear across the province, so that will benefit all communities. So just wanted to put that out there, and maybe just to put it out to the presenters and some of the organizers for the webinar. Is there anything I'm forgetting, or is there any last mention of something you wanted to put out there for everyone who's on the webinar today? Just put up your hand there. I'm forgetting anything, or doesn't look like it. Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone. Good discussion and great presentations. Thank you to our presenters. You kept on time really well, and so many wonderful ideas. I think people will go away and have lots to work with. If they haven't run Bike Week before, they have lots of fodder right now. So what I'll do afterwards, like I said, I'll send an email out and I'll have an evaluation link. You'll be able to let us know if you're interested in being part of that provincial working group for Bike Week promotion. And also we'll send out the presentation materials, the presentations themselves, and the audio recording. And I kind of messed up and I missed the first 15 minutes of the webinar, but at least the last part of the webinar is intact on the recording. So I apologize about that. Realize that 15 minutes in. But not all is lost because we do have the presentation. So thank you again to everyone who's involved in putting this together, all of our presenters, Caroline and Craig and Anita and Ray and Claire, and all the folks who are behind the scenes helping out as well. So Andre Crapo, and Julian West, and Jennifer Richards, and Colleen Terry. I hope I'm not forgetting anyone. If I am, I'm sorry. And I think this is a good experience, and lots of great ideas. Thank you, everyone, and we will talk again soon. And you can leave the meeting by going up to the File tab up in the top left-hand corner. Click on File, and down at the bottom, I believe it's at the bottom, where you can click Leave the Meeting. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.